Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. We're going to jump right into it because you guys already know what we're talking about today because you've read the title. Presumably. If you just click on my videos without reading the title, I respect it. You're a man of few fears. So today we're going to be talking about the Cold Steel SRK. And for those of you that have been longtime fans of the channel, you will know that this knife has a long and storied history with me. I have made a video very similar to this a few years ago, coming up on, 2 years ago now? Yeah, 2 years ago. And that video, for a long time, was the most viewed video on my channel, the most viewed long-form video. It has since been dethroned by a certain video I made about a spear. I still can't believe how good that video did. It blows my mind. But I want to get this video bigger than that one because I love the SRK. This is my favorite fixed blade, and it just seems right for it to be featured in my most viewed video on the channel. So share this video, if you will. Basically, this knife is the GOAT. When anyone asks me for a recommendation for an outdoor work knife or a survival knife or even a tactical knife, this is my go-to recommendation. The price is right and these things are built phenomenally well. I have taken my SRK all over the place. This is my go-to adventure knife. I've taken this down mine shafts, to the top of mountains, camping, hunting, everywhere in between. This knife has not let me down. Now, this is my new SRK. I got this one a little over a year ago. For a long time on the channel, I had an all blacked out version. And that was actually the one that I made the video I was talking about earlier with. I reviewed that knife, and it got stolen from me also about a year ago when my truck was broke into. And that sucks. That really sucks because that knife and I had history together. There was a lot of memories with that knife, and I've shared a lot of those stories on the channel before, so we're not gonna, rehash them here. But in short, that knife got me out of quite a few nasty predicaments, and it was just a really dang good work knife. What do I like so much about this design? Why did I go and buy another one? And actually, that's another thing. With the last video I made on this topic, I basically said this fixed blade does everything I need it to do. I could be happy with this as my one and done fixed blade, but I want, some recommendations for other fixed blades I should try. And a lot of people just automatically assume that, I don't even know what they assume, but people are just telling me, well, just get another SRK, this, that, and the other, which I did. That was always the plan. But, I'm a reviewer. I'm a knife tester user. I like to try new things. I like to broaden my horizons, right? Maybe somehow I will find a knife that I like better than the SRK. I don't think that's going to happen. The chances of that are very slim, but who knows, right? So what makes this my favorite fixed blade? Because I don't have a favorite folding knife, really. Well, I do. The Cold Steel 8015 is my favorite folding knife, but I don't have a folding knife that I would consider to be perfect in every way. The Cold Steel SRK, I would actually say, is a perfect design. And that's very rare. I say that confidently, but not easily. It's hard to say that something is the perfect anything. I think this knife is perfect. So right off the bat, I love the size, right? We've got a 6.5-inch blade here. That's plenty of edge to do most tasks. Gives you a good amount of blade if you're going to be batoning. It's just a lot of knife to work with. It's a big knife, but not a huge knife, and I like that. The blade shape itself is my favorite outdoor blade shape. It's a straight clip point. This is kind of the best things about a drop point with a slightly lower tip. So you can get to that tip really easily for drilling. You've got a nice straight section of edge. You've got a little bit of belly up at the top. Just a very useful blade shape that is good for a wide variety of applications. The steel on the base model of these is SK5. I haven't had any issues with SK5 steel. I like it, especially for the price. I don't really think you can do much better. It's super tough. The edge retention is actually fairly decent for a budget carbon steel. And yeah, it's bomb-proof, basically. The handle. This is a great handle. So the knife is full tang. This is an overmolded rubber handle, and it's shaped really nicely. You can see we've got this palm swell here. It's not too wide, so you can get all your fingers around it, but it's nice and thick. It's nice and chunky, so it fills out your hand really, really well. The texturing is perfect. These little bumps here grab onto your fingers really well, and these ridges back here provide a comfortable, hotspot-free surface for your palm to rest on. So if you're going to be chopping, if you're going to be batoning, the shock absorption is going to be really, really good because this is a rubberized handle. That's also going to mean that this handle isn't going to get super hot or super cold, depending on the environment that you're in. Just a lot of features that I really, really like. The tang isn't exposed, which again, sometimes if you're in a place that's really hot or really cold, and you're not wearing gloves for some reason, sometimes the tang being exposed can make things a little bit uncomfortable. You've got a nice guard here. It's very, very solid, locks you in really well. Got some jimping in there that's really, really great. The edge comes all the way back, so you can get right up behind that edge while still being protected behind your guard. The plunge grind on these is excellent. I guess back to the blade, plunge grind's excellent. Thickness is really good. We come down to a, not thin, but reasonable point while still having a very thick spine. And it is crisp, as you can see right here. I do use this for throwing sparks quite a bit. The coating on the blade is not the most robust. It does rub off pretty easily, so that could be better, but I don't really mind it that much. Gives a knife character. Keep your blade oiled, and that'll, help with rust when you do start to wear that coating off. But it's nice to have that coating because it does give you some rust prevention. You've got a lanyard hole. I think that's a really, really important feature to have on a knife like this. I don't carry my fixed blade knives with a lanyard attached just because as I'm walking through the bush and stuff, sometimes branches will grab the lanyard and it's just kind of annoying. However, I do keep a section of paracord in my bag that's separate from my other paracord. It's about 24 inches long, and I can use that to make a nice little lanyard wrap around my hand. So if I'm working somewhere where I don't want to drop my knife, maybe off a cliff or into a river, or if I'm doing some chopping and I want to really secure the knife to me, it's always good to have that option if you need it. And I've alluded to the price before, but these are about 40 bucks. And that's a phenomenal value. I think that is just about, this is the best knife you can buy for under $40. It's durable, it's usable, it's a smart design. I think you're going to be really, really happy with it. The complaint that I hear most people have is with the sheath, and I'll be honest, I don't mind the sheaths that much. They're Securex, they're just plastic. You can see here I don't have the snap attached. The hold is really, really good, which is important because on my last SRK, I actually accidentally ripped these off in the woods. The knife does, the edge will get dulled a little bit coming in and out of the sheath, which isn't ideal. It would be cool if these had like the Demko style sheath that he's using on like the Free Rein and the Armiger series, but I don't think it's that big of a deal, and this is a steel that's easy enough to touch up in the field that, you should be all right. And I always just carry mine the way it comes in the box, vertical carry on my right hip, and it's not very obtrusive. I don't find that it flaps around a whole lot. I've crawled down into holes and stuff with this on my belt, and it stays out of the way pretty good. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot of complaints with the sheath. It's a plain sheath, but that's fine, especially at the price point. So, and of course, the only true measure of a knife's quality, a water bottle cut, or in this case, a milk jug cut. Okay, that was so badass. I had to throw the knife and walk away. That was pretty sweet. Okay, let's see if I can quarter this up into some more pieces, shall we? Oh, I was a little bit off on that one. Tried to go for the same cut, didn't quite get it. Let's go even lower. Ah! Okay, my edge alignment was bad on all those, so it's good that I did the knife throw after the first one. There is so much good going on with this knife, and there's really not much that I can think about that comes to mind as a negative. I mean, there's certainly elements that maybe could be improved, like maybe, you know, a better steel or something like that, but then you start to add to the price. And so the base model at the price that it comes in at is 100% good to go for me. And like I already said, this is my #1 knife recommendation to anyone who's looking for a fixed blade knife. 2025 is shaping up to be kind of the year of the fixed blade here on Gideon Stuff. A viewer recently sent a box of beautiful fixed blade knives to the channel that I'm going to be reviewing, and I'm really excited about that. But this is also going to be the year of the SRK. You see, my original review of the SRK came out 3 years ago. That's a long time, and things have kind of changed since then. And I think 2025 is a good time to re-review the SRK. But not this one. I hope that was met with thunderous applause from you guys on the other side of the screen, because to me, this feels like a big deal. So, what did I just show there? Well, the first thing is an SRK-C. This is the SRK Compact. And here you can see compared to the regular SRK. This has got to be one of the most requested knives for a review in the channel's history. Dirt biker. And for a long time, I'll be honest, for a long time, I wasn't really interested in taking a look at this knife just because I kind of assumed that it would just be the SRK with a few inches cut off the end. How wrong I was. This is also going to be kind of a first impressions video, I guess, although not really, because I've had this knife and the other one for quite some time at this point, and they've both gone on a couple of adventures with me. But as for the little guy here, same specs, SK5 steel, same overmolded handle, but I am impressed at how different this knife feels. This does feel like a very different knife. They shrunk the SRK down in every dimension. And so we have a handle that is much thinner, and I don't know, the knife feels very different. To be honest with you, this feels more like a tactical knife than the SRK. This definitely feels like an outdoor bushcraft survival knife. This one feels a little more high speed, low drag. This one feels a little bit more like a fighting knife, which is not my, area of expertise. So I've just been carrying this and using it as a hiking knife, but I am enjoying it quite a bit. I'm glad that I finally decided to take a look at this knife because it is quite a bit different. And I kind of feel bad because I have given some people some recommendations. I've said, hey, get a cold steel SRK. And people have said, oh, that's a little bit too big. I'm like, oh, well, they offer a smaller version. Basically the same thing, just go for that. No, this is a different knife entirely. And yeah, I really look forward to spending some more time with it and showing it some love. It's already been down into a couple of mine shafts with me, and I went rock climbing with it. So it's already becoming an adventure knife. And the other one is an SRK in 3V steel. This was one of the biggest recommendations on that video I made all those years ago. People were like, oh, just get an SRK in 3V or the San Mai version. I was going to get a San Mai version too, but This one was a Midway USA exclusive, and yeah, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous knife. We have the satin finish here, and I know it's all dirty now. We've got the satin finish here. Feels, you know, otherwise exactly the same as a regular SRK, but it's going to be quite a bump in performance with this 3V, and I cannot wait to take this guy camping and use him quite a bit. That's another thing too. When I go camping, I like to have a 3-tool set. I take a folding saw, a big survival knife, and a folding knife, and that gets done everything that I need to get done when I'm going camping or backpacking or out in the woods or anything like that. Saw to take down, you know, some wood. If I find big logs on the ground, I can cut them up into smaller pieces. Use my knife to baton it and get a fire going. Saves me having to carry an axe or hatchet everywhere. I like it. Some people might argue that that's, you know, you shouldn't baton with your knife. I think that's kind of bullshit. If you do it right, if you're smart about it, you can absolutely baton with your knife with no problem whatsoever. And yeah, that's something I enjoy doing with my knives quite a bit. Of course, if you're going to be like breaking down like firewood for your house, get an axe, for Pete's sake, right? I'm not saying this should replace an axe in every scenario, but when I'm hiking, backpacking, it's nice to have a knife in my belt and then a folding saw in my bag, and that's all the space it takes up. So for me, it works out pretty well. The other thing to kind of address with this topic, I'm actually going to tilt the camera up just a little bit. I don't know, maybe that's better. Is I've heard people say, and I've had people ask me whether or not GSM taking over Cold Steel has resulted in a downgrade in the quality of their items. And by and large, I have not noticed a downgrade as such. My original SRK was from before the GSM purchase. This one is a GSM SRK. It's held up fine. Again, my other one I was using and abusing for about 3 years before I lost it. This one I've only had for about a year, so you know, we'll see what happens into the future. And I'm not going to speak on folding knives or anything right now because that's beside the point, but yeah, I get asked about that every once in a while. I haven't seen much of an issue. Oh, and by the way, I should have pointed this out. The sheath for the 3V version, I'll wipe this off on my pants, is green, which is cool because the sheath for my other green-handled one is black. But yeah, this one's got a green sheath, which is pretty nice. I like my gear to be green and black. I've talked about this before, but that's kind of my go-to for all my backpacks and things like that. But there you guys have it. That is why the Cold Steel SRK is still the GOAT. This knife has not let me down ever. I have been in some sticky situations with it. I've used it a ton. And for the money you spend, I really don't think you can get anything much better. Now, I'm sure there are better knives out there than the SRK, but they probably don't cost 40 bucks. So I'm really excited to give this design another review this year and to take a look at a new iteration of it. This is going to be a really, really fun year for the channel, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But that's going to be it from me today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. Share the video. Big shout out to my channel members right here at the Cowboy level. I appreciate everything they do for the channel. If you want to become a channel member, there's a button down below. Until next time, I've been Gideon. Adios.